Have you ever seen a ghost? Not the kind that rattles chains or walks through walls, but the kind that wears your face, sleeps in your bed, and steals your life piece by piece? I saw one in the faint blue light of my wife's phone screen at 2 in the morning. Her back was to me, her shoulders shaking with what I thought was quiet laughter. The screen illuminated a text message, not from a stranger, but from a contact named with my own name. The message read, "He has no idea. You're amazing tonight." My blood turned to ice. It wasn't just that she was cheating. It was that her lover, the man she was texting, was my identical twin brother, and she had absolutely no clue. She thought she was just sleeping with me. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The strange behavior had started subtly, like a crack in a foundation you don't notice until the walls start to bow. Sarah, my wife of 5 years, became distant. The easy intimacy we'd shared, the lazy Sunday mornings tangled in sheets in our Chicago condo overlooking Lincoln Park, it all evaporated. It was replaced by a brittle politeness. She'd flinch if I touched her shoulder unexpectedly. "You startled me," she'd say, her voice sharp, a stark contrast to the woman who used to melt into my arms. Her phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, was now her constant companion, clutched in her hand or hidden screen down. Then came the late nights at the office, the client dinners that stretched past midnight. I'd call her, and the phone would ring out, only for her to text me an hour later. "Sorry, battery died. Long night." The first piece of concrete evidence was a receipt I found in her coat pocket. A hotel bar, the Drake, right on Michigan Avenue. The date matched one of her late nights. The charge was for 2 expensive cocktails, a brand of whiskey I never drank. I confronted her, my heart hammering against my ribs. She laughed it off, a cold, dismissive sound. "Oh, that was a client meeting, Mark. You're being paranoid." She was so convincing, so dismissive of my fears that I almost believed her. She had this way of turning my legitimate concerns into accusations of insecurity, making me feel like the one who was broken. The villains, her and this phantom lover, felt untouchable, wrapped in a blanket of her lies and my own self-doubt. The breaking point came on our anniversary. I'd booked a table at our favorite restaurant, a small Italian place on Rush Street. She canceled at the last minute. "Swamped at work, honey. So sorry. I'll make it up to you." I knew she was lying. I drove past her office building. Her car wasn't in the garage. On a gut feeling, I drove to my twin brother Leo's apartment in River North, and there it was. Her Lexus parked right out front. Leo and I, we weren't close. He was the shadow to my light, the reckless one, the one who always took what he wanted without a second thought. We looked identical, but that's where the similarity ended. Seeing her car there, it wasn't just a betrayal. It was a violation of something sacred, a twisted mockery of my entire life. I sat in my car, the city lights blurring through my tears, and something inside me shattered. The loyal, loving husband died in that driver's seat. What began to grow in his place was something cold, patient, and utterly ruthless. My first step was to become a ghost. I started gathering proof with a chilling detachment. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who operated out of a dusty office in the Loop. He placed a GPS tracker on her car and gave me access to software that mirrored her phone's activity. The texts were sickening. They weren't just sexting, they were mocking me. "He's so predictable," she wrote to Leo one night, thinking she was writing to me. "He'll be asleep by 11, Leo replied. "Good, I want you again." The most damning part was that she was calling him by my name, Mark. She truly had no idea. Leo was playing the ultimate deception, pretending to be me, and she was falling for it, her arrogance blinding her to the truth. She was cheating on me with a man she thought was me. The irony was a bitter pill. I saved every text, every call log, every GPS location stamp of her trips to his apartment. The plan formed in my mind, a meticulous legal and social trap. My lawyer, a shark in a $3,000 suit, advised me on Illinois' dissipation of assets laws. Sarah had been spending lavishly from our joint accounts on gifts for Leo a watch. Expensive dinners, even a weekend trip to Miami she'd claimed was a work conference. We documented every single cent. I opened a new bank account and began quietly moving my own funds. Socially, I played the part of the oblivious, doting husband. I suggested we host a massive 5-year anniversary party, a do-over for the one she'd missed. I insisted she invite all our friends, her family, her colleagues. "Let's celebrate us," I said, my voice smooth as silk, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. She loved the idea, the chance to be the center of attention. She even suggested we invite Leo. "It's time you two buried the hatchet," she said, oblivious. "Perfect," I replied, a cold smile touching my lips. The night of the party was electric. Our condo was filled with over 100 people, music pulsing, champagne flowing. Sarah was radiant, a queen in her kingdom of lies, holding my hand while her eyes searched the crowd for my brother. Leo was there, smug and confident, giving me a brotherly hug that felt like a snake coiling around me. The moment came just after 10 p.m. I stepped up to the microphone I'd set up ostensibly for a toast. I started by thanking everyone for coming, my voice steady. I talked about love, trust, and the sanctity of marriage. Sarah beamed at me, squeezing my hand. Then my tone shifted. "But sometimes," I said, my voice dropping, the room falling silent, "the person you trust the most is a complete stranger." I looked directly at Sarah, and sometimes they're not even cheating on you with a stranger. Sometimes they're cheating on you with your own husband. Or so they think. Confusion rippled through the crowd. Sarah's smile faltered. I projected the first image onto the large wall behind me. A screenshot of a text from her to Mark. It read, "He has no idea. You were amazing tonight." Then another. A photo from the pie of her and Leo kissing passionately outside his apartment. Gasps filled the room. I then played a recording of a phone call, her voice unmistakable, telling Leo how boring and predictable her husband might had become. Her face went white. Her parents stared, horrified. Her boss, the managing partner at her law firm, looked at her with pure disgust. "The man my wife has been sleeping with," I announced, my voice ringing with cold clarity as my identical twin brother Leo. I turned to Leo. And the best part? She didn't even know. She thought his face was my face. She thought she was with me. The humiliation that washed over Sarah's face was absolute. It was a complete and total social annihilation. She was ruined, exposed in front of everyone she knew. The aftermath was swift and brutal. The next morning, she was served with divorce papers. The dissipation of assets claim meant she had to pay back every dollar she'd spent on Leo from our joint funds, leaving her financially crippled. Her law firm fired her for the morals clause in her contract. Her family was ashamed. Her friends were gone. She was a pariah. Saw her one last time months later across a courtroom. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a hollow, haunted look. She was a ghost of the woman I once loved. The judge granted the divorce, and I walked out without a backward glance. I sold the condo, left Chicago, and moved to a small, quiet town by the ocean. The revenge was complete, but it didn't bring the satisfaction I thought it would. It was just empty. The house is quiet now, the only sound the rhythmic crash of waves against the shore. The end.